Hey YouTube, have you ever wanted the perfect portable charger, but maybe it's, I don't know, too bulky, not enough battery, too expensive? Well, I'm going to teach you how to make your own by just using a 9-volt battery and a car charger. And a few wires, tape. You can use whatever you want for conducting, putting together, but I'm using tape, soldering iron, wires, etc. And you can use actually any battery you want. So yeah, this is how you make your own perfect portable charger. Christina Aguilera. Let's get started. What you're gonna want to do is take your car charger that you have, and you're going to want to break it open. So my method of breaking it open is the fun method, smashing it with a hammer. So what I'm going to do is not very carefully, just whack it until the sealing comes off. And then from there, I'm going to pull it open. Okay, so now that I was able to get it open, what I'm going to do is pull out the components from the casing. And for this video, what we're going to use is the middle spring and the two clasps that actually hold the plug into the car. So the middle spring is the positive, and the two clasps on the outside are the negative. So you can hook up wires to them however you want. But first, for this video, I'm going to try the soldering method. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do for soldering is strip the wires. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to grab my wire stripper and cut a good amount of wire and start stripping them. And now that the wires are stripped, I'm going to bring out my soldering iron and try to solder that to the clasps of my components, the motherboard of the car charger. So first, when you have a soldering iron, if you don't know how to solder yet, you have to dab the sponge that I just set in the holder with water, so that you can clean your soldering iron off and yeah, have your soldering iron cleaner so it can make better solder, and so that the solder can stick better to the wires and what you're soldering it to. So my soldering iron is heating up right now, so I'm planning out where I'm going to solder it and how I'm going to solder it. To the room of people who have rooms of people that they love one day docked away. Just because we check the guns at the door doesn't mean our brains will change from hand grenades. You loving on the psychopath sitting next to you. So while the soldering iron's heating up, I'm going to try to figure out casings that I can use for the portable charger. So what I think is a good use of casing is cardboard. for this video. It's easy and most people have it. So I'm going to try to hot glue the cardboard on top of the components and then put the 9-volt battery on the top.
We don't deal with outsiders very well. They say newcomers have a certain smell. Yeah, trust issues not to mention.
So now I believe the soldering iron is heated up enough, so I brought out the solder. Right now I'm testing it and just see that it's heated up. Yep. So let's start the soldering process. So I'm going to lay the components on the side, attempt to, it's pretty hard, and then grab the efficient amount of solder. And if you don't know what solder is, it's like hot glue basically. So the soldering iron is going to heat it up, and it's extremely hot. And it's like glue for metal. Just think of it as that. So you put the wire on, and then you try to solder on top of it. And right now that it looks like the soldering is not working, so I'm just going to stick with the tape method. So now I'm going to hook up the positive wire. So it's a simple spring, so all what I have to do is put it in the middle of the springs and bring it out through one of the cracks and twist it. For the positive, for the spring part of it, you're probably going to want more wire. So you're wanting to use the side with more wire on it, because you're wanting more room to twist the wires together. So now I'm gonna tape the negative side to the clasp. So I'm just using regular plain painter's tape, nothing too fancy. You guys can use whatever you want, but honestly mine is like the cheapest tape out there, so that just proves that you can use anything for this project. So I just bend the tape over the clasp, and I have the wire in. You're wanting to twist the wire around the clasp a little bit, and make it so that it's touching the metal directly, because if it's not, it's going to be a pain and it's going to keep on going off and on, and you're going to have to push it down and enable the charger to charge. And after you seal the whole thing, you don't want to go back. So yeah, just make sure that the wire is very tightly on the middle.
Every day I'm shuffling.
So now you guys don't have to do this, but to be secure, I'm going to solder the wire to itself around the spring to make sure that it won't fall off ever. So, and then on top of that, I'm probably gonna tape it. I don't know, probably not. But see right now how I soldered it, and then I'm going to twist it a little bit more just to make sure that's on the spring very tight. So now I'm going to start planning out the casing for it. I already decided that I want to use cardboard, so that's what I'm using. So I'm going to use indirect measurements to just decide how I want to cut the case. So right now I'm folding the cardboard around to the sides and underneath the components and the card charger, so that I can have that crease that I can cut when I use scissors to cut it. And I'm keeping in mind the 9-volt battery is going to be on top, so right now I'm planning that out as well.
Every day I'm shuffling.
So now I'm taking the pieces that I cut and making a top and a bottom. So I'm measuring out how big it should be on the top and on the bottom, so I can also have the 9-volt battery on the top. And it looks pretty good right now. Now I'm going to start cutting out the sides. That looks a little big, so I think I'll cut it in half. I'm going to take a hot glue gun to glue the card charger onto the cardboard. So let me do that right now. Watch out, hot glue is sticky and it gets all over the place. So stick it on top of the bottom cardboard and just let it dry for a little bit. And then put a little bit of hot glue on top of the metal that the USB ports are on, and then place the cardboard on top of that. Right now I'm planning where the wires will go once I place the cardboard on top of the components. And just hold on to it for a while, which takes a lot of patience and it's kind of annoying, but just hold on to the hot glue on top of the metal until it dries, which won't be a long time. And make sure you don't get your finger on top of the hot glue because that hurts a lot. No dirt, but plan out where you want the 9-volt batteries to go and the wires and how you want to hook up them together. Right now I decide that it will be easier to, instead of having this big box, to just close it in together and kind of make it compressed. So now I decided to keep the wires still and organized. I want to punch holes into the cardboard in the back and place the wires through those holes. So run the wires through the holes I'm making with the scissors, so that I can easily connect the 9-volt battery on the top. And I want to do all of this before I seal it, because it would be very hard to do when I seal it. So now it's time to start the sealing process. So take your hot glue gun, compress the two sides together, and just seal it right in the middle with the hot glue.
I'm not sure if I can see this ever stopping. Shaking hands with the dark part.
Let one section dry for a little bit.
You are all that I've got. No, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. Even when I doubt you, I'm no good without you. No, 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 no. Gnawing on the bishops, claw away up their system, repeating simple phrases. Someone wholly insisted, want the markings made on my skin to mean something to me again. Hope you haven't left without me. Hope you haven't left without me. Please. Don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. Even when I doubt you, I'm no good without you. No, don't forget about me. Don't forget.
And then for the other side, you don't really have to seal it. What I did is I just taped around it and called it a day, so that it's still very easy to get back into if one of the components don't work like they should. And then I decided to do the exact same thing for the back of it. And from here, I decided to do a little bit of experimenting off camera. So what I did is I took the top part off of a 9-volt battery, and I decided I wanted to use that as my holder for the 9-volt battery. So what happened was I took pliers and I firmly bent the edges around it until it looked like that. And then I took a screwdriver and I just popped the top out of it. And this is not dangerous. Inside of a 9-volt battery is actually 3 AAA sized batteries. So it's not any acid or anything inside. And then now what I want to do is solder the top of the 9-volt battery onto the wires that I have lying there right now. So let's see if this would work.
More than power, never. Ever after work is over. Work Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour, work it never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over.
And here is our finished product. So I'm going to test it out and show you that it works and that I didn't just spend all this time teaching you positive. You have to plug in opposite so that it fits. Okay? So as you can see, that's why I'm doing lights up. Of course it works. So let's give this thing a test. Let's plug in my USB cord for my phone. And let's plug in the other end to my phone and see what happens. Oh, my phone lit up. This, my friends, means that it's charging. And as you can see on the bottom, it says charging. Right there, right over the unlock thing. So yeah. Thank you for watching my video and letting me teach you guys how to build your own portable charger using a 9-volt battery. Well, at least I'm using a 9-volt battery. You can use whatever you want. But please comment, subscribe, and like down below. It would be very much helpful. And view all my other videos. Thank you.